Hey, how are you? Are you sure?
Hey, this video contains extreme horror. You are fully responsible for what happens.
The forgotten village of Eldridge Hollow.
In the secluded woodlands of northern England, there lies a forgotten village, Eldridge Hollow. Once a thriving community, it vanished from maps after a series of unexplainable events in the late 19th century. The story begins with the arrival of a mysterious stranger, a man of peculiar habits, in Eldridge Hollow. Rumored to be a scholar of the occult, he took residence in the old Witherby mansion, a place long avoided by the locals due to its eerie aura. Not long after, villagers started witnessing inexplicable occurrences. Livestock was found mutilated in fields, strange symbols appeared on doors, and an unending mist enveloped the village at night. Whispered tales of demonic rituals and ghostly apparitions filled the air. The heart of the horror, however, centered around the disappearance of the children. One by one, children began to vanish without a trace. Searches led nowhere, leaving families in despair. Some claimed to hear their voices on the wind, calling out from the depths of the forest. The climax of these terrifying events occurred one fateful night when a blood-curdling scream echoed through the village. The townsfolk, armed with torches and pitchforks, stormed the Witherby mansion. They found the scholar in the midst of a sinister ritual, surrounded by arcane symbols and chanting in a bizarre language. In a desperate struggle, the scholar was killed, but not before uttering a curse upon the village. From that night forward, Eldridge Hollow was plagued by unnatural phenomena. Shadows moved with minds of their own, disembodied whispers were heard in empty rooms, and unseen hands gripped the shoulders of the unwary. The final straw came when the village priest, Father O'Malley, was found lifeless, his eyes wide open in terror, clutching a crucifix. This event caused the remaining villagers to flee, leaving Eldridge Hollow to the mercy of the spirits they believed haunted it. To this day, Eldridge Hollow remains a desolate place. Those who dare to venture near speak of an oppressive silence, broken only by the sound of their own heartbeat. Some have glimpsed figures moving in the periphery of their vision, only to find nothing when they turn to look. The village now stands as a cautionary tale of the unknown, a place where the veil between our world and the realm of the supernatural is terrifyingly thin.
The night I encountered the shadow of Redwood Lane.
I never believed in the supernatural. That was until the night I decided to take a shortcut through Redwood Lane. It was a decision I would regret for the rest of my life. Redwood Lane was infamous in our town, a narrow, winding road lined with towering, ancient trees that obscured the moonlight, casting an eerie gloom. People whispered about disappearances and strange sightings there, but I shrugged them off as urban legends. The night was unnaturally quiet as I entered the lane. A sense of unease crept over me. I quickened my pace, but the deeper I went, the more I felt something was terribly wrong. The air grew colder, and a thick fog began to rise, swirling around my feet. That's when I heard it, a faint whisper, almost like a child's whimper, coming from the woods. My heart raced. I told myself it was just the wind. But then I saw it, a shadowy figure, standing just off the path, its eyes glowing a faint, malevolent red. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The figure seemed to be looking right at me, and then it moved. It was unlike any human movement, jerky and unnatural. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The whispers grew louder, turning into a chorus of voices, all speaking at once, yet saying nothing I could understand. The figure drew closer, and as it did, the temperature dropped further, and I could see my breath in the air. In a moment of sheer terror, I found my legs and ran. I didn't look back, even as the whispers turned into screams, and the thud of footsteps followed me. I didn't stop until I burst out onto the main road, gasping for air, my heart pounding out of my chest.
The haunting of Harper's Creek.
I remember it like it was yesterday, the day we decided to explore the old Harper's Creek mansion. It's funny how some choices stay with you forever, haunting you with their consequences. Harper's Creek was a small, forgotten town, but the mansion was infamous. They said it was haunted by the spirit of Elizabeth Harper, who mysteriously vanished decades ago. Being a group of curious teenagers, we laughed off the legends. We were wrong. The mansion was a decrepit structure, its once magnificent facade now overtaken by ivy and rot. We entered through the creaking front door, the musty air filling our lungs. The silence was oppressive, broken only by our footsteps echoing through the empty halls. We explored room after room, finding nothing but the remnants of a once lavish life. That's when we heard it, a soft sobbing coming from the upper floor. It sent chills down my spine. We followed the sound, drawn by a mix of fear and curiosity. In a small, dusty room, we found the source, a rocking chair, moving back and forth by itself, and the sound of weeping in the air. No one was there. My friends wanted to leave, but I was compelled to stay. I felt a strange connection, a pull towards something unseen. As the sun set, the house grew colder and the atmosphere shifted. The sobbing stopped, replaced by a heavy silence. That's when we saw her, Elizabeth Harper, or rather, her ghost. She was beautiful yet sorrowful, her eyes filled with eternal pain. She didn't speak, but her gaze told a story of betrayal and loss. We learned later that Elizabeth had been in love with a man who, driven by greed, had betrayed her, leading to her untimely death. Her spirit was bound to the mansion, trapped in a loop of heartache and despair. The encounter shook us to our core. We left the mansion, but the experience stayed with us. We were haunted by dreams of Elizabeth, her sad eyes pleading for release. Years passed and life took us in different directions. But the memory of that night lingered. I returned to Harper's Creek alone, drawn by a need to help Elizabeth find peace. I researched her life, uncovering the tragic tale of her betrayal and untimely death. Armed with this knowledge, I went back to the mansion. I spoke to Elizabeth's spirit, telling her the truth about her lover's deceit and urging her to let go of her pain, to move on from the world of the living. To my astonishment, she appeared to understand. A look of relief washed over her spectral face. The atmosphere in the mansion lightened, and for a moment it was as if the weight of years had been lifted. But then she vanished, and the mansion fell into an even deeper silence. I left Harper's Creek with a heavy heart, knowing that some spirits are too tethered to their pain to find release. The mansion was demolished soon after, but the legend of Elizabeth Harper lives on. And so does my guilt, for I couldn't save her. Her haunting gaze is a reminder that some tragedies are too deep to heal and some spirits are destined to wander forever.